Jon Jones defending the title versus the challenger, Stipe Miocic, in November, Madison Square Garden. So are we going to get a double retirement here? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have Stipe retiring and then right after him, the gloves, both of them will leave gloves in the middle of the octagon as well as Jon Jones? Is that what's going to happen? Is this the idea? So we're just insinuating that Stipe will retire after this. He's of age, and I mean, he's kind of retired already. In a way, he's a part-time fighter, full-time firefighter, right? That's how it seems like. The guy fights every 2.5, 3 years between the fights. I mean, the Cormier fights as well, between 1, 2, and 3. It seems like an eternity. That trilogy took forever to happen, right? Then he finally fought Ngannou the second time, got brutally knocked out. It's been like 2.5 years, I think, roughly since then. Now he's finally challenging the champion. And that was also kind of initiated more by Jon Jones. I feel the organization also kind of like put Stipe before that, put him in there in that fight when he had versus Cyril Gane. Jon Jones, he was in the crowd. They kind of more pushed him like, hey, dude, why don't you go challenge him, right? So we have now the fight. They're promoting the greatest of all time in Jon Jones versus the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. No, I'm not trying to discredit Miocic, really. I'm just stating the facts here. The guy fights every once in a blue moon, literally. I think we just had a blue moon, an actual blue moon, and I think the next blue moon is maybe we'll get it more. He will just retire, right? So that's what we're expecting to happen. And then Jon Jones is the one that's been saying, hey, this is going to be my last fight. He kind of is going in that direction. He hasn't officially said it, but he's kind of insinuating as well that this will be my last fight, and this is like the completion of my legacy and everything. Can you blame the guy? I can't. He is the greatest of all time. I have no arguments there. Can he beat these title contenders as well? Absolutely. He already beat Cyril Gane. He made Cyril Gane look easy. Cyril Gane is an amazing fighter, right? And as I said, Cyril Gane will be a future. When these guys are gone, when Jon Jones is gone, Cyril Gane will be the future champ at some point. Maybe not like he's going to be reigning for 5 years on the top, but I feel like he will be a champ. But that's how Jon Jones is good. That just shows you, right? So he has every right to do whatever he wants. But will it be here in Madison Square Garden? Will that be like a double retirement? Will he steal actually Stipe's moment? Or will he let Stipe do his thing, maybe defend the title once again and then retire? Maybe that'll be a more fair thing to do. Or maybe this is a cool thing. We've never seen a championship fight ending in the winner, the champion, and the challenger retiring at the same time, leaving a vacant belt, right? Title right there, right on the spot. So we will find out. Let me know what you guys think. I honestly think that he will retire. I think he kind of is going towards that. He might be faking it. He might be just trying to draw more attention. That's his way of doing it. Could be. I mean, he's allowed to do whatever he wants, right? If he defends the heavyweight championship against Stipe Miocic. Now, on paper, it sounds good, right? The greatest of all time versus the greatest heavyweight of all time. But in reality, I think ring rust, cage rust is a real thing. We don't know what kind of shape Stipe is. We just know by numbers that he's a lot older, and it's been a while since his last fight. And in the last fight, he got brutally beaten by the Predator, Francis Ngannou, who's into boxing right now, which we'll cover some other time. But, on paper, it looks great. And it looks great for Jon Jones' legacy. So it all makes sense. It's all kind of a setup. But in reality, he's a big underdog, and Jon Jones is a big favorite. But then again, in recent history, what did we have? What did we learn from here? Just in the last 365 days, we've learned that Leon Edwards, who was at the time a big underdog, knocked out Kamaru Usman. Not once, but then he proceeded to beat him once again in the rematch. We have Sean O'Malley. He was an underdog. He beat Aljamain Sterling. And very recently, we had the huge underdog, Sean Strickland, beat the socks out of the reigning champ, Israel Adesanya. So I'm very cautious, and proceeding forward in these championship fights, I'll be very cautious about talking about underdogs and favorites and being very confident about who's going to win. Even though I'm talking about the greatest of all time here, Jon Jones, I'm not talking about Aljamain or Israel or Kamaru. I'm talking about Jon Jones. Jon Jones is levels above everybody. So yes, I can say he is the favorite. I believe he will defend his title. However, we have to be cautious. It's still the fight game. He's still human. Anybody can lose on a given night. That has been proven time and time and again. And yes, we might think on paper this guy is super rusty, hasn't fought in a long time, but he's still Stipe Miocic. He's still been discredited a lot of the times. He was the underdog versus Cormier for the most part. And what did he do? He proved everybody wrong. Cormier now is a commentator and is always going to be salty about that. But the fact of the matter is, yes, he is considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. So now I think that Jon Jones might retire. I think it would be really good on paper and for his legacy, right? Ended like Khabib, but not really like Khabib. Khabib ended it pretty early, right, at 31. Jon Jones is currently 35. He might fight still longer, but we will see. Now, as far as the contenders, we recently had Cyril Gane, right? He beat Spivak. He made a case, and he says, I don't want to move backwards. I'm only going to look forward. Not really challenging the winner of this match. He didn't say, I'm going to fight. I'm going to contend for the title once again. Whoever wins, Jon Jones or Stipe, I'm going to be next. He didn't say that. He just said what he doesn't want to do. He said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall as it doesn't make sense. He's the number one contender. Tom Aspinall is not the number two contender. And there's no reason for him to go backwards. He wants to move forward. That doesn't make sense, what he said, right? Especially because you have Sergey Pavlovich, who's the backup fighter for this fight, right? He's been beating everybody, and he's actually the number one contender. However, latest update on the UFC rankings, and the UFC rankings, by the way, is determined by the media. The media decided that after Cyril Gane's win, that he's actually the number one contender, and they put Sergey Pavlovich right behind. So that whole narrative now is like all of a sudden Pavlovich is not the number one guy, not the number one contender. For some reason, I disagree with it, but not everything has to make sense in the UFC, right? It's like who is the loudest, who makes a good case, who makes a good point, that will prevail. And then you got to carry the fans with you and with your opinion and push that narrative. So he's doing that. Pavlovich didn't do anything. He didn't respond. He's not active. I think he just got the role of the backup fighter, and I think he's taking that for granted, which you should not do in any case. Even Colby, who was the backup fighter and was guaranteed the fighter, he still constantly is fighting for that position. Like, hey, I'm the number one contender. I should be fighting for the title. You have to be loud and clear, and you have to get a lot of people behind you, you know? It's marketing. It's all about that, right? Rankings don't matter that much. As long as you're in the top 5, anybody can get a shot. It's been proven with Sean Strickland, who holds the title right now. So you just got to be ready. You got to make your case. You got to be the loudest one in the room. If you're not, if you're sitting back and you're quiet and you let everybody decide for you, what's going to happen? Just like in life, you're just going to keep sitting in the back and waiting for your chance. So Tom Aspinall did not respond to Cyril Gane, from my understanding. I think he was hoping to fight him. He could have also made the case and like, you know what, Cyril Gane had his chance twice. Now it's my turn. I want to fight for the title. I don't care if this guy's the backup fighter, if Cyril Gane already, you know, he's been in that position. He could have done that as well. Instead of trying to chase Cyril Gane, you're trying to chase a ladder where I'm going to step on that ladder and then afterwards I'll fight for the title. But I think the situation will be more clear after this fight. Because if we get a double retirement, that won't really matter much. Because then we're going to have a vacant title, a vacant seat. And then out of those 3 guys, which is Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall, and Cyril Gane, 2 will have to fight for the title. It's clear as day. So let me know what you guys think. Are we going to get a double retirement in Madison Square Garden in November? Is Jon Jones going to retire along with Stipe Miocic? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Octacage MMA. And if you don't agree with me, please subscribe, follow me. We can be, you know, having arguments, civil arguments, you know, without name calling in the comments. I appreciate it. Alrighty. I'll see you in the next one.